what's going on, guys? Welcome to TPL Live. The Eagles start off the regular season 1-0. The Eagles take down the Atlanta Falcons 32-6. What an unbelievable debut by Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon. The list goes on and on and on. I have like one major complaint about this game. We're not going to go there for quite some time. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to smash that subscribe button. Hit that like button. I got a ton of Eagles highlight reels dropping after this post-game show. Joining me today is my man, Ty Book. You follow him on Twitter at TyBook3. What's going on, Ty?
What's up, Chris? Big week. My goodness.
Woo!
We're out the gates.
Yeah, man. We have a lot to dissect in this game. And I mean, this was clearly, trending as the Jalen Hurts game here, at least through the first 2 or 3 quarters. Then I want to, really dissect this Eagles defense, which really turned it up in the second half and really shut down the Falcons on the ground, in the air, taking out completely Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, who? It was a really impressive performance, but let's start off with Jalen Hurts. I'm going to share my screen here so we can look at some stats here. Jalen Hurts was absolutely terrific, 27 of 35, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, 126.4 rating. He did have on the ground? 7 carries for 62 yards. A lot of those were huge runs that were momentum-changing plays for this Eagles offense. 0 interceptions. I didn't see any mistakes. What was your take on Jalen Hurts today?
He played as well as he possibly could. I have absolutely no negatives on him here. I graded out the offense and the defense. His grade didn't change throughout. I graded him an A, just a solid A. I mean, it's not an A+, but an A. And that's about as good as you're ever going to get from me. And that was in the first and second half. Like you said, 27 for 35, 264, 3 TDs, no picks, threw to 7 different receivers, used his legs a ton to get out of trouble from time to time. On that same note, though, I really want to talk about the running backs and picking up the blitz. I thought they were exceptional at picking up the blitz today. And, yeah, I think it is the Jalen Hurts game. It was a little bit of – now, I also don't know how good the Atlanta Falcons are. I wasn't real impressed. But yes, I thought Jalen Hurts played a very good football game today.
Yeah, that there's a caveat here. It is week 1. You did get Kyle Pitts week 1. That is a major storyline here. However – you look at this dime to Devontae Smith to really that was their first possession of this game. It was absolutely a dime by Jalen Hurts. And I wouldn't call myself a doubter, but he was absolutely – there's a lot to prove with Jalen Hurts. He struggled in second half for teams. This was a guy that, come second half, defenses definitely, had this guy figured out a little bit. That being said, Jalen Hurts was thrown into a really crappy situation last year. And you just look at this pass to Devontae, probably arguably one of the better moments if you even included 2020. It was just a great design. And we're going to get into Nick Sirianni's offense in our first reactions with that. But any reaction to that?
I just thought the relationship between Smith and Hurts for week 1. I mean, obviously they have a little bit of a background at Alabama, but it was really nice to see a first-round pick getting involved that early. I was just super impressed with the play calling in general. I thought they got a little stagnant in their third offensive drive in the first half. I thought we fell in love, or Sirianni fell in love a little bit with the little bubble screen swing passes. But outside of that, I thought it was a really, really well-called game. All the inexperience we're talking about with Hurts, 4 games last year, 2 series in preseason this year, so yeah, it wasn't a doubt. It was just I need to see it. And today he came out and made all the right reads and did a great job.
One of the most ironic things about this game was, if you had to point out a weakness, and I'm sorry to go here, but I have to, was the 7 penalties on this offensive line. Like if you had to make a list of like things that, I made a preview. I've been doing previews all week on this Eagles versus Falcons game. If I had to make a list of tiering like all the things I'm looking out for, it's not the Falcons rushing attack, which was absolutely dominant in that first half. And B, you look at the Eagles offensive line, if healthy, if they're one of the most experienced, one of the most strongest units, top 3 potential if they're healthy units in the NFL. And 7 penalties, and they had 3 on Lane Johnson. It was just so ironic. Over the moon excited to see the Eagles young players make major step forward in their development. That being said, they're not going to go against the Atlanta Falcons defensive line every single week. They're going to go against better competition. We're taking it 1 week at a time. 32-6 is no joke, and there's a ton of positives. Now joining us is my man Shane, the host of Chalk Talk. Follow him on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. What's up, Shane? You're muted, bro. Your mic's not working, man.
So, Chris, 14 penalties for 89 yards. If we're going to complain about something, that's one thing.
Sure.
Shane, whenever you're taking care of this, let me know. Are you back up?
I think so. Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. I was just saying it feels incredible to be excited after an Eagles game. I haven't enjoyed watching an Eagles game in almost 2 years, so it was a nice feeling.
Wasn't it great, man? There's like I said, there is just so many wrinkles in this game that we're going to talk about. We talked about Jalen Hurts already. Shane, what was your initial reaction on Jalen Hurts today?
I thought Jalen Hurts looked good. I thought he did what he needed to do. Jalen Hurts is at his best, honestly, when he's under pressure, and he's at his worst when he feels like he's under pressure, but he's not. So, I mean, there's some things he needs to clean up. A little bit of accuracy cost him early on, bailing from a few pockets he shouldn't have. But overall, it's a great performance, especially for a guy making his 5th NFL start and who only played 10 snaps the whole preseason.
Yeah, it is wildly impressive. He's going to be owning the keys to Philadelphia this week on Philly Sports Radio for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it's one game. It is one game. A guy that I want to talk to you guys about, and before we get into the defensive line and the defense, which really I think was like the number 2 star of this game, especially in that second half. But Miles Sanders,
not in the first half, it wasn't. I was a little
exactly. They got gashed. 6.6 yards a carry on the ground by the Atlanta Falcons rushing attack. But I want to talk about Miles Sanders. I want to go to the other side. I'm talking Miles Sanders. Miles freaking Sanders, who really struggled between the ears, catching the ball, holding on to the ball. Big game by Miles Sanders here. Again, 15 carries, 74 yards. He was just massive in the receiving game, which you love to see. 4 catches, 39 yards. That was something we saw his rookie season that made him such a tantalizing prospect. Miles Sanders, I love to see this guy, not just for having a great game, but for what this means for the rest of the season. Getting this guy positively moving forward in the right direction with his confidence and with that chemistry with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. I'll lead off with Shane. Shane, what was your take on Miles Sanders?
Yeah, I thought Sanders came in. He really struggled last year. He really struggled in preseason and training camp, and he came out and put together a really good game. Early, I thought he had a few runs. He kind of left some yardage on the field, but he did some great. He had some great blitz pickups. He caught a couple of passes, and overall, he looked fun. He looked explosive, which is key.
Yeah, man, absolutely. There was like one play where, at least in that third quarter, I believe he just was like the entire Eagles offense on the ground in the air, and they had a 4th and short or a 3rd and short, and they gave it to Gainwell, who had a great game, and that we can talk about that in a little bit. But Sanders, every time he touched the ball, it was something to watch. Ty, what was your take on Miles Sanders?
113 total yards from scrimmage. I mean, that's what you need out of Miles Sanders. I thought I like Shane's take on his early runs. I thought he needed to get a little more north and south a couple of times. He got a little caught up trying to go east and west, but played a really nice game. Seeing him catch the ball out of the backfield confidently and effectively is a really nice change from last year. If he can play like that all year long, that'd be great. But that's kind of been the knock for me with him is you'll get a game like this, and then he won't exist next week. So let's praise him for today, and we'll see what he does next week.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, and then we go to Nick Sirianni's offense. Our first real look at Nick Sirianni's offense. You look at what touches with Miles Sanders, 15 carries, 9 to Kenny Gainwell. You saw some 3 tight end sets, which I really enjoyed. You saw a lot of quick passes to our speedsters. This is like kind of everything I really wanted to see from this Eagles offense. They got the ball out of Jalen Hurts quick. They got it to our guys with speed. You saw it with Jalen Rieger at the end, which was awesome. That's what we didn't really see any of that last year. What was your take? Let's start off with Ty. What was your take on Nick Sirianni's offense? What did we learn?
All right, so these are unofficial numbers. These are me keeping tabs on my notepad without looking at stats. I've got him 36-28 pass to run. I had that 1 sack at one point on Hurts, so that was pass play, but those might be a little skewed. So 36-28, not a bad ratio, especially when your quarterback's completing 27 of the 35 attempts. I liked the play calling. I thought early second quarter it got a little stagnant, and then in the second half it turned back into something. They got the running game a little bit more involved and started to move the ball. It looks like he had everybody prepared today, which is a big thing, other than maybe the offensive line with the snap count and hard count stuff. I thought that blitz pickup was really good. Play design was good. I liked the different sets. I liked the 3 tight end sets. And getting the ball in Quez Watkins' hands, off to the side, getting Devontae Smith involved, and Jalen Rieger. I mean, just getting receivers involved. I thought it was a really good offensive game plan, and they stuck to it well.
Yeah, Shane, how about that Jalen Rieger touchdown, by the way? I got to give you something. I got to give you something there just because I've been getting killed on my Jalen Rieger takes so long. But it was really good to see him get that yak back in Philadelphia because it's something he struggled with last year. But this is everything, man. When you got a guy like Devontae Smith, we didn't even touch on Devontae yet. We're going to do that next. But Jalen Rieger is kind of a guy that has been buried here in Philadelphia. And to see him, just like I said with Miles Sanders, to see him get that confidence in week 1, get that touchdown out of the way, have a really strong game, being that compliment to Devontae Smith. Look at him. Look like Jalen Rieger at times looked completely checked out last season, fighting through injury and just a sloppy offense last year in 2020. That was really good to see. And quick takes on Jalen Rieger and what does this mean for the rest of his season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not sure Jalen Rieger can run a route, but he's definitely explosive with the ball in his hands, which, if you got a guy that can't run routes and he's explosive, this is what you do. This is what the Eagles didn't do last year. The coaching staff never put their players in a position to succeed. So I love to see him get that early, that early shot in the arm. It's a great play. You see the acceleration, the explosiveness there. So yeah, that's what we need to see more out of Jalen Rieger, those jet sweeps, those manufactured touches, just to get the ball in his hands.
I think you're starting to see the and again, it's the Falcons. I'm gonna preface this. It's the Falcons. But what you saw from Nick Sirianni today, you've got Quez Watkins and Jalen Rieger on the sides, quick slants, quick screens to get them the ball in space. And then you got Dallas Goedert in that middle intermediate area of the field. Zach Ertz had a drop, but it was a catch. Who cares? But you have the offense going to Devontae, and then you have all these other elements in this offense that, could be something that the Eagles have got going for themselves. Ty, any quick takes on Jalen Rieger before we get into Devontae? We got to talk about Devontae.
I love the take. They're getting the ball in his hands in ways that don't rely on him being a polished route runner, and that's just key for them. The one thing that I can't stand watching him return punts. It drives me nuts. He needs to take the ball upfield. But if he can give you a couple of big touches like he had today, especially with that little bubble swing that he took to the house, the yak catch, if he can give you a couple of those a week where you're getting 10 yards, 15 yards, that's production for him.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's go back to Devontae. We haven't touched on Devontae yet. Shane, how good is this guy? He ended up with 6 catches for 71 yards. There was a period there, I think, in the second or third quarter where he had 4 straight catches. He was absolutely dominant. The Falcons cornerbacks secondary had no idea how to respond to this guy. What was your take on Devontae? And what is his ceiling moving forward? Because very good game.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good. I think he had the most catches Eagles receivers ever had in his first game. I know he tied Deshaun. I can't remember if he broke that record or not, but he looked good. He looked like what you expected, a guy that can release, a guy that can get open fast, which is what the offense needs. And, that play that you're rolling right now, that first touchdown, that's brilliant play design to run that rub route. I said all week talking leading up to the game, I wanted to see the Eagles empty out the backfield, spread this defense horizontally, and then test them vertically. And I love that, you huddle down the field and then you get to the red zone and you dial up that play. And I thought it was a beautiful play call and great execution.
With Zach Ertz, mind you, with Zach freaking Ertz, of all people. All right.
And that's not as easy of a play to execute as it looks like. I mean, you saw the Falcons try to run that rub concept twice and got flagged for it both times. So it's a good job by Ertz to initiate that contact, but not in a way that draws a flag. And so that's not as easy to execute as it looks like.
All right. Before we get into player of the games, let's talk about Jonathan Gannon's defense, which was truly dominant here, especially in this second half. Like we started at the beginning of this podcast, I never expected the Falcons rushing attack to dominate really this Eagles front seven as much as they did here in the first half. But completely different storyline here in the second half. They got to the quarterback. They shut down the run. Calvin Ridley was nothing. Kyle Pitts was nothing. What was your take on the Eagles defense, Jonathan Gannon? Go ahead, Ty.
In the first half, I graded him out in the first half at a B- strictly because of the points. Only 6 points. So they bent, but they didn't break. But like you, I was really disappointed in the amount of yards per carry they were giving up early on. To give you an idea, I mean, I graded them out for each position category in the first half, same in the second half. But like at the end of the game, I graded the defense out at a B+. I mean, I thought tackling was a little so from the linebacker position today. I'd like to see a little bit more short tackling. I was pretty happy with the defensive backs today. I didn't see anybody really blow coverage. Shane, you may have gotten a better take on it. I was trying to do a couple of things at one time for most of the game, but I was pretty happy with them. Like you said, though, Chris, at the end of the game, the D-line took over and closed it out. It was really nice to see that they had just worn them down. And honestly, Matt Ryan looked old. I mean, Matt Ryan, he had a couple of runs early in the game. Don't get me wrong, but his arm strength looks to be really diminished and just doesn't look like the same Matt Ryan.
Yeah, when you're getting 5.6 yards per carry offensively, and when you're closing out games with the defensive line, like that is the short recipe for success. I know again you can only play the Falcons once this season, but that is something really positive. Shane, what was your take on this defense, and what does this mean for the rest of the season?
Matt Ryan may be old, but this is him putting Eric Wilson on skates. That was
sorry.
I'm just saying. I'm interested to go back once all 22 gets up and look at it. But here was my sense watching the game. I need to go back and see if this is accurate. But the Falcons got 146 yards on their first 2 drives, and then up to like the garbage time, the last drive, they had 114 yards the rest of the game. They were gashing the Eagles on the ground. Now, I know for a fact that the Eagles played almost exclusively 3-4 that first drive. My sense is that after those first 2 drives, they went to more 4-down linemen. I need to check that, but that's not on the defense. When you're in that 3-4, your defensive line's job is to eat up linemen, and your linebackers have to fill gaps and make plays against the run. And the Eagles simply don't have the linebackers to do that. Eric Wilson is afraid of contact in the box. Alex Singleton, he kind of disappeared, and I don't think Singleton's a bad player. I think he's the guy you're kind of keying on to make sure you block there. But I wanted to see the Eagles be able to get into more of those multiple fronts like we've heard that Gannon wants to do, and the early returns on that aren't good. I don't think the Eagles have the linebackers to be able to play too high, to go into a 3-4 situation and trust their linebackers to fill and flow against the run. And so I think we saw that against a pretty poor rushing attack today. And I'll be interested to see if they adjust and if they go almost exclusively 4-3 after this.
Shane, you're exactly right. They did drop out of that 3-4 after the first 2 drives and started to throw some different fronts, more four down linemen. They gave up 31 offensive plays in the first 2 drives of the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, the second drive was 17 plays. And, granted, they only got away with 3 points, but I think you make a great point. He wants to put those different fronts. We just don't have the linebackers to do that at this point. And that's, they're still building upon what was already here. And I just don't think they found what they need at that linebacker position. And when you have the defensive linemen that you do have on this team, I think you're exactly right.
And I'll say what I love is, what do you open the game with? You open the game with your best thing. The offense comes out and walks down the field, scripted that first drive out. With the defense, what Jonathan Gannon wanted to do was use these 3-4 sets. He used them for 2 drives, and it did not work. And then we didn't see it again. I love the ability to make that adjustment on the fly. You compare that to Jim Schwartz last year, and we're coming out, we're playing single high, soft coverage, rushing 4, and if it doesn't work, we're just going to keep doing it. And so, to me, seeing a guy make that adjustment on the fly from what he wanted to do but wasn't working and then finding something that was, that's incredible. That's something that we haven't seen in several years.
I think something that was, needs to be said was how the Eagles were able to just take out Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts in this game. Calvin Ridley gashed the Eagles in that first drive. He had, 3 catches? He didn't get his 4th catch, I think, until the late 3rd or 4th quarter. He ended up with 5 catches for 51 yards. And then you look at Kyle Pitts, 4 catches for 31 yards. The defense was a bend not break defense in that first half, and they absolutely dominated there in the second half. There were a couple drops by Calvin Ridley he should have caught. But Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, I don't know. The Eagles defense deserves its props. And when you talk about, Jonathan Gannon adjusting there in the second half, they deserve a lot of props, because that's what you're saying, is that the Eagles saw something that wasn't working. I don't know. What's your take on that, Shane? How much do we pump up this Eagles defense, Jonathan Gannon?
I loved what I saw out of Gannon. I think the defense needs some work. Tackling was obviously an issue, which is to be expected. Yeah, as we truncate the preseason, as we play starters less and less, that's going to be sloppy, and you expect that. That doesn't excuse it, but if you watch around the league, you're seeing that a lot. It's something they've got to clean up. Defenses are going to learn how to, if the Eagles have to fall back into this predictable, we're going to be in 4-3, we're going to rush 4, offenses are going to pick those linebackers apart. So I'm interested to see the counterpunch now. How do you not get predictable and still mask a pretty weak linebacking core? And so I'm interested to see with what Gannon comes up with there. Overall, I think the defense played well today. I think there's still major holes, though, and I'm interested to see how Gannon can mask those.
I want to give a shout out to my man Randall, who is one of the most positive Eagles fans there is. I've been joining his show a lot these last several weeks, Bird Gang Nation, and the dude predicted 31-10, and the Eagles won 31-6, and that is an unbelievable storyline. He predicted Jalen Hurts MVP. Jalen Hurts played like an MVP today. He truly did. Let's go on to player of the game. Ty, who is your player of the game for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, you can't go anywhere but Jalen Hurts today. I thought he played exceptionally well. So, it's just that 27-35, 264 yards, 3 TDs, no picks, 7 different receivers, 62 yards on the ground. So you can't go anywhere else but there. If you want to be kind of creative about who had a really good game, Sippos punted the ball as we have had in years. Not to be weird or anything, but 3 times he pinned him inside their 10-yard line when the game was still a game. And that just killed any momentum that Matt Ryan was going to try and have out of his own end zone. So, obviously it hurts, but yeah, I'll throw some special teams love out there too.
What about you, Shane? Player of the game?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to go away from Jalen Hurts, but I don't want to just say the same thing everybody else does. So I'm gonna go with Javon Hargrave. I mean,
Nice.
Javon Hargrave, he was the priority free agent signing last year, and we didn't see a lot from him last year. He started the year injured. He picked it up a little near the end of the year, but he gets 2 sacks. He gets 2 tackles for loss today. And I mean, once the Eagles went back to that 4-3 and let him penetrate upfield, he just lived in the backfield. And so, that's exactly what we needed to see from the interior defensive line, which is a matchup that we called out going into this game, that they needed to tee off on this, on Matt Ryan and make him uncomfortable. And they did a great job doing that.
They beat the crap out of, I can't remember the rookie guard's name now.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad.
Jalen Mayfield.
Yeah, that was Justice
I had it
Winslow.
written down on one of my pages of notes and cannot find it anywhere. So thanks.
I'm going to not even call a player of the game here. I'm going to go Nick Sirianni, head coach. First game, we talked about what our major storylines. For me, it was always at the top, starting with Nick Sirianni, rookie head coach. 32 points, 32 freaking points, which is incredibly impressive. 3 for 3 in the red zone in here. Just 6 of 13 there on third down. But those numbers were way better if you take out like garbage time in this fourth quarter. I was just incredibly impressed by Nick Sirianni. The quick screens, the quick slants, that's the new running game in this modern NFL. When you have that advantage with your speedsters and yard after catch guys like Jalen Rieger and Quez Watkins, he saw the mismatches. He went to them. I was really impressed with Sirianni's play calling multiple times throughout this game. Nick Sirianni gets my call. You look at 261 yards passing, 173 yards rushing, 31 rushing attempts, 35 passing attempts. And then you got the Eagles having more time of possession than the Falcons, which, after the first 2 drives by the Falcons in that first half, it was like a monumental lead for the Falcons when it comes to time of possession. The Falcons were completely gashing this Eagles defensive line in front 7. I got to give major props to Nick Sirianni because I really had no idea what I was going to see here week 1, and he absolutely crushed it. Let's wrap it up. Ty, how would you grade today's performance?
I give him a really sturdy B+ because I just don't believe Atlanta's that good. Sirianni himself, I give a B+ as well. Like I said earlier, I thought he got a little stagnant early in the second quarter with his play calling, but really bounced back from that. Another thing I want to point out about today that was super impressive was clock management and that 2-minute drill at the end of the half.
Yes.
It's been a really long time since there's been an Eagles football team that has managed the clock well. And part of that is we just haven't been very good. Other parts were when we had Andy Reid and for whatever reason never used timeouts correctly. It just seemed like the team was well prepared today, which is a testament to the coaching staff. So, Chris, I like your player, your person of the game. Overall, though, really excited for the rest of the year. I have a ton of notes here that we don't need to hear anything about. It was just fun to watch a competitive Eagles football game.
Yam says friggin' epic stash, by the way. Shane, how would you grade today's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it an A. I know it's the Falcons, but Falcons fans were coming into this game saying it's just the Eagles. And I'm not – you're going to hear a lot of crazy talk on Twitter and on other sports podcasts this week about how the Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl now, and I don't think that's the case. I mean, it is the Falcons, but all you can do is beat the team that's in front of you, and the Eagles did that. They did it convincingly. They did it on the road with a rookie head coach and a quarterback making his 5th start, and they didn't show a lot of weaknesses doing it. So I'm excited to go into next week and see, how we progress from here, to see if we can continue to move the ball, to see if we can continue to adjust defensively, especially against a team in the 49ers that looked dominant today. So big test next week. But for today, I couldn't be happier with what the Eagles did.
Yeah, I'm going straight A. I'm sorry. Like, as mind-numbing as those penalties on the offensive line were, that can be fixed. That will be fixed. But I can't be more ecstatic by this Eagles team. Nick Sirianni, Jonathan Gannon's adjustments there in the second half. Jalen Hurts showing that he can be, look good in the pocket. And when he gets out of the pocket, it's straight magical. Devontae was everything. So the chemistry between Jalen Hurts and Devontae needs to be talked more about. That stretch where he had 4 straight catches, that's what we want to see. You wouldn't even know that they barely played in the preseason. What does the preseason mean anyway? But that is something to be worthwhile. Special teams, even though Jalen Rieger didn't do shit, returning punts and stuff. The punt, like you touched on it, Ty. Like, we actually have a punter here that can get the job done, top to bottom. Other than penalties, this was a really strong and impressive performance by the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see what it means against the 49ers. Let's wrap it up. We're already in 30-plus minutes. Ty, go ahead, Shane.
They asked Devonta Smith when he knew he had a touchdown on that play, and he said, as soon as I knew it was man coverage, he knew it was a touchdown.
Dude,
I like it.
Dude, he's a beast, man. He's an absolute beast. Ty, where can we find you, man? What do you got going on?
At TyBook3 on Twitter or at PTP2021. We're working on something fun for the Ryder Cup coming up. That should be a lot of fun for golf. Instagram's Wild by Ty. Thanks for having me. Great first week. I'm going B+ because of the penalties, guys. Everything else.
I hear you, bro.
B+. and because the Falcons, I just don't think they're very good. So I love the optimism. I love the A's. B+ is a good grade for me, and I'm excited for next week.
So here's my take on that, and I completely agree. But my take on that is the Eagles came into this season, at least on my end, as an average team. When you're going against another kind of average team in the NFL, you do that kind of shit you did to the Falcons today. They crushed their souls, especially in that second half, where it matters most. Great game plan on the defensive line and yards per rush. Like, that is my reason I put them at an A, because they did it in the right way. They did it in the right way that really gives you good results. Any take on that, Ty?
I don't disagree with you, Chris. I'm not gonna. There were too many things that needed cleaned up for an A, in my opinion. You can't have that many penalties, especially along the offensive line. You beat a team you should beat. It's week 1. Nobody knows how good anybody is. I mean, the Bengals just beat Minnesota in overtime. Like, it's week 1, so you really didn't know what you were going to get from either team. And with the penalties, what they did in that 3-4 front, giving up all those yards in the first 2 drives, all those plays, they made the adjustments, which is great. But I'm living B+, man. I'm living it. I'm not changing it.
You look at the history under Doug Peterson against the Falcons, like, every single fucking game is down to the last play. If you're looking for a fresh start, you got it this week. The fact that the Eagles are on the right path. What about you, Shane? Where can we find you? Final thoughts. Go ahead, man.
You can find me on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. You can follow my podcast, Chalk Talk. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're also on YouTube. Mark Henry and I will be going live sometime this week to do a review show. We'll break down the Eagles game in depth and kind of around the NFL. Later in the week, we'll get you ready for week 2 with a preview show. So you can follow all of our stuff there. Final thoughts. It was fun. Football was fun, and it wasn't fun last year. And this was a fun game.
Love to hear it, guys. Follow TyBook on Twitter. Follow Shane on Twitter. I am Dibs, Mr. Crockpot. That is Little Crockpot behind me, just chilling. By the way, thank you, everyone, for watching. Eagles start 1-0 on the season. Dominate the Atlanta Falcons 32-6. We'll be back every single week for these post-game shows. I've got a ton of highlight reels dropping that I've been working diligently throughout the entire game. So all plays by Jalen Hurts, all targets to Devontae Smith is going to be absolutely crazy. I'm going to do a lot of breakdowns with those videos as well. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Please smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you love the Philadelphia